Okay, for the third section, let's look at the international trade of Korea. Okay, the first one. Wow. International trade. I usually argue that the international trade is the backbone of the Korean economy. Backbone of the Korean economy. Because Korea is the 8th largest exporting country in the world. Well, its export is usually about between 600 and 700 billion dollars. Okay, so the share of Korea's export in the world is about approximately 3%. 3%. But think about the Korean population. The population is just 50 million. It's less than 1% of the world population, right? But Korea's export, it takes 2.7% in the world, right? Well, export per capita is much larger than other countries. Okay. How about import? Import. 10th largest importing countries in the world. The same. So Korea's import, the share of Korea's import in the world is 2.7%. Okay. So it means that Korea has the largest size of export and import. Okay. Let's compare the export and import of Korea with other countries. Here we say share of trade in GDP. You can download this information from the not Korean statistics, okay, or you can download this data from the World Bank. Okay, right here, the biggest one is Korea. Okay, the average between 2005 and 2021. Okay. Well, the numerator is the export and import, and the denominator is national GDP. 70% of Korea's GDP comes from export and import. What others? What others? What others wealthy bigger countries? USA, it is just 21%. Japan, 27%. Well, Germany is almost similar to South Korea, right? But how about the others? Most of them have less than 50%. Okay? It means that the Korean economy highly depends on export and import. Okay? Let's look at the details of export and import. Okay? That's about the trading partners. Well, 10th largest exporting market of Korea. Traditionally, Korea, the Korean economy was pivotal. Well, we depend on the USA, right? So the largest export market was the USA until 2000. But as far as I remember, it was 2007. China became the largest export market of Korea. So since the mid 2000, China. Well, I would like to attract your attention to the share of the major markets. Well, share of here, 2020. The share of China is 26. The share of USA is 14. Vietnam, Hong Kong. Well, the sum of top four is over half. Over half, 80%. It means that Korea's export market is concentrated to just a few countries. Just a few countries. Right? Okay. How about the import? Traditionally, well, until 1990s, when Korea made a ship, when Korea made a ship, well, we just made a ship, right? But we import lots of parts like the engine or the other things. You import lots of things from Japan. We just assemble them, like the like a Lego, Lego blocks. Okay, right? So traditionally, Japan was the importing source of Korea, but also since 2000, it was maybe 2009, China became the largest importing partner of Korea. Okay, but the same as import. Import is also concentrated to major partners, right? But there is difference between the export market and import partners. Okay, here especially, well here, Saudi Arabia, Australia, Indonesia, UAE, United Arab Emirates, and Qatar. we can't find their names in the export market, but in the import partner, we find Saudi Arabia, Australia, Indonesia, UAE, and Qatar. What this means? What this means? What item the South Korea imports from Saudi Arabia? Crude oil, yeah, exactly, crude oil. What items Korea imports from Australia? Australia. Iron ore to make a steel. Iron ore and coal, the fuel, fossil fuel, coal. Okay. What South Korea imports from UAE and Qatar? Natural gas. Natural gas. Okay. Right. So the list of trading partners implies the major export and import item of South Korea. So look at the items. Exporting items was 1981, 2001, and 2021. So every 2 decades, I show you the change. Well, until the early 1990s, clothing, textile was the top exporting item of Korea. As I mentioned in the previous slide, the textile or clothing is the labor-intensive industry. We just need the labor force. We don't need any technology. We don't need any money. We don't need any investment, right? Just put input the person. That was all. But since 1980s, we tried to transform to the more advanced one. So now, semiconductor is the largest exporting item. Okay? And other technology-based or other heavy industry like cars, oil products, and vessels, and copper, iron panel, display, mobile communication. Such a high technology or heavy industry items are major exporting item of Korea. Right? How about the importing item? Ooh. Crude oil. Crude oil from Saudi Arabia. Right. Iron ore, natural gas, chemicals, coals. Right? These are major importing items of Korea. Okay? So let's look at some details of major divisions within the maritime industry: shipping, port, and shipbuilding. Okay? Let me tell you why these 3 major divisions are important for Korean economy. Okay. So the first thing you need to keep in your mind is that South Korea is a highly open economy. Its economy depends on export and import. This is the point. Okay. The first one. Okay. Maritime transportation. Well, South Korea is an island country, right? There is no way we can move cargoes or we can move goods by cars or railway. Okay. The only 2 ways we can move our cargoes is that we can transport our cargoes is that ships and airplanes, right? So, okay, right. Majority of Korean export and imports are transported by ships. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. This is typo. This is 99.8, not 96. Okay. 99. Right. So 99.8%, almost all export and import are transported by ship. Yeah. But this is in terms of weight. But in terms of value, 2/3 of Korea's export and import are serviced by ship or moved by ships. Okay. Here, this is the export by air and by sea. Right? So in terms of weight, 99.7% exports are serviced by ship. But in terms of value, 2/3. Right? In terms of in case of import, 99.9% are imported by ships. But in terms of value, 72%. It means that the small and light but expensive items are serviced by airplanes, right? But cheap and heavy items are serviced by ships. Okay, and look at the weight of sea transportation by export and import, right? for export, the weight of export is approximately 1.8 billion tons, right? But in case of import, it's almost 3.5 times of the export, right? It means that Korea's export items compared to the import, export items are light. Importing items are very heavy, right? Because South Korea imports lots of crude oil, heavy items, iron ore, and coal. They are all heavy items, isn't it? But they have low value. That's my point. And also, from the sea transportation, we have 5 major ports. But I do not have enough time. Let me tell you just the most important one. Look at Busan. It is the largest seaport in South Korea. Also, my hometown. My hometown. I was born in here and I was grown up here, right? My hometown. Busan, well, the share of Busan in terms of weight is just 22%. Just about 22%. But the share of its value in export is 44%. 44%, right? It means that the exporting items they get through the Busan is that they are expensive and light items, right? How about import? Well, it's more surprising. The share of in terms of weight of Busan is just less than 7%, right? But how about in terms of value? 30%. It means that the importing items from by Busan is that they are light, but much more expensive items, right? This is among the maritime transportation, right? It means that the crude oil, coal, and iron ore, such heavy items are not exported or imported from Busan. Busan has something. Let me tell you later, right? Okay. Well, again, South Korea, because we are such a poor country. We are really poor country. We don't have any oil. We don't have any natural gas. We don't have any coal. Do you agree with me? We don't have any iron ore. Nothing. Really nothing. So, 93% of our energy consumption is imported from other countries, like the crude oil. Here, crude oil. You know, here, early 1990s, early 1980s, well, just a quarter of Korean import was crude oil. It means that if we earn money, we spend our money, most of our money is spending for buy oil. Right? Because we do not have any oil, no resources at all. Right? So when I describe the Korea to the foreigners, I usually say it's a huge factory, huge manufacturing factory, because it buys lots of raw materials and then it exports the finished product or finished goods. So this, it's kind of manufacturing. Right? It's manufacturing factory. Right? So I describe Korea as a huge manufacturing factory. Such a okay. Second one is so the Korean economy depends on the export and import, and most of the export and imports are serviced by ships. That's the first point of the importance of maritime industry to the Korean economy, right? How about the second one? Second one is the foreign exchange reserve, or just to say the money earning, dollar earning, US dollar earning, right? So, South Korea is a bit 3 years ago. The data is 3 years ago. Anyway, major ship owning countries. 3 years ago, its ranking was fourth in the world, both the largest ship owning countries in the world. Now, I think, as far as I know, about 5 or 6, maybe 5 or 6. So major ship owning countries, right? But think about the population of each country. Greece it has maybe less than 30 million of population. How about China? Wow, billion. Japan, over 100 million, right? Korea, 50 million. Germany, 80 million. Norway, small, right? But the population of Korea is relatively small, but anyway, Korea is a major ship-owning country in the world. But why we have such that? Okay. Here, major dollar-earning industry. Shipping is a major dollar-earning industry. Well, I mentioned that the Korea is one of the manufacturing powers in the world, right? It means that also, on the other side, it means that, well, the service industry of South Korea, its performance is very poor. But recently, the K culture is popular among other countries. So nowadays, the service industry becomes much better. But traditionally, South Korea has a low competitiveness in the service industry. It means that, so here, this is the revenue of the service industry every year, right? And this is the revenue of the shipping industry. Well, keep in mind, shipping industry, you will engage in after your graduation is a service industry, right? It is not a manufacturing industry, isn't it? Right? Do you agree? Anyone don't agree? Don't agree? Shipping is service industry, right? Well, in Korea, shipping is the only service industry that have profits. Look at the profits and debits, right? Here, from service industry, South Korea always have loss, below the zero, right? Shipping is the only service that have profits. Profits from shipping. Without shipping industry, the loss of service industry of Korea will be much more worse, right? So the shipping is the only service that earns dollar. We always have a loss in tourism. We always have a loss in the education. We always have a loss in the other consulting or other professional service. The only service which have a profit, right? So shipping is the dollar-earning industry in South Korea, right? Third one is the port. Let me tell you about the port. My hometown, Busan. Busan is now 6th largest container port in the world. Well, here, Busan is the container, the throughput of container in Busan is about 22 million TEUs. I think you know the term TEUs, right? This one, right? You already know the concept of TEUs, right? So Busan usually handles 22 million of TEU every year. Well, can you remember the share of Busan in export and import, right? The whole South Korea, we handle about 33 million TEUs in a year, right? Busan handles 22 million. It means that 2/3 of whole Korean containers are handled in Busan. That's why, yeah, Busan is amazing, right? Actually, about 20 years ago, the position of Busan was third. The position of Busan was third, right? And about 20 years ago, there was in this table, we have to raise this one. We have to raise this one. We have to raise this one. Qingdao, Guangzhou, Tianjin. We have to raise all of them. Shanghai, Ningbo, Qingdao, Guangzhou, Tianjin. We have to, about 20 years ago, we have to raise 5 of them. Professor Yang, can you remember the ranking of Kaohsiung in about 20 years ago? Also a bit, maybe.
No, 20 years ago.
Yeah, about early 2000.
Yeah, so maybe number 3.
4 or 5, yeah.
Yeah, number 3 work.
3 or 5. Competing with Busan.
Yeah, 15.
Yeah,
15
right.
or
Competing with
20,
Busan, right? Yeah, because I have to say it was explosion of the Chinese economic growth, right? So since then, Shanghai, Ningbo-Zhoushan, and Qingdao, and the Tianjin, they grow. Right? So Busan, the ranking of Busan goes down. It is 6. Okay. But I would like to point out this one. Okay. Here is the transshipment port. Do you know the concept of the transshipment, right? Transshipment. They know the transshipment. Okay. Well, Singapore is the transshipment, the major transshipment hub, right? Busan has the second largest transshipment hub. Others, Tanjung Telegraph, Port Klang, others. Well, here the total container handling the volume here. Well, this column is the container volume of the transshipment. Okay. The last column shows that share of transshipment out of their total container volume. Okay. In Singapore, almost 90% of their container volume are transshipment. It means that they do not have many export and import containers. They just put transship. That's it. Right? How about Busan? 50%. Right? How about Tanjung Telegraph? Over 90%. How about Port Klang? Slightly less than 6%. 52, 90, almost 91. Right? Well, you know, we can divide them into 3 groups, right? All transshipment port, right? Half and half, export and import and transshipment, right? Many and major export and import, like Hong Kong and Antwerp, right? They have much more export and import container traffics, right? Is it okay? So Busan is half and half group. So Busan, Port Klang, and General Ali, they are half and half. Okay. Others, Singapore, Tanjung Telegraph, and Tanjung Mediterranean, they depend on transshipment. Okay. So, and one picture is that, you know, Busan has 50 and 50, but it is the only megaport. Because when you say the container volume is over 20 million, we say it is a megaport, right? Other 50 and 50, they have relatively small volume of container handling. But Busan is a megaport. It is handling over 20 million TEUs in a year. But it is a half and half, right? But the reason why I mentioned is that, well, transshipment is really profitable industry. It makes lots of money, this business, right? You know, everything has both sides. If one thing is good, one thing is bad. What bad point does the transshipment have? What bad point? If a shipping line decided to change their port, well, we usually handle, well, let's think about Evergreen, yeah? What? Evergreen, yeah. Evergreen, they think, well, we usually transshipment have the transshipment in Singapore, right? But, Singapore is too expensive. So, and the service is not so satisfactory. So, let's move to Tanjung Telegraph. It means that they lose their customer. And it really happened. Because Tanjung Telegraph, can you imagine when this port opened? When this port was opened? It's less than 20 years. Less than 20 years. This is in the Malaysia. So the Malaysia want to take the Singapore containers in the Singapore. So they built Tanjung Telegraph, and then they attract 10 million of TUs for the past 20 years. Right? So it means that transshipment is profitable, but it is very risky. Very risky. But yes, it's a reality. It is risky, it has more profit, right? It's risky, right? But Busan has its mega port, but we manage the risk very well because we have profitable business hub and we have stable business from our export to import because Korea is a manufacturing economy, right? So it's very well managed risk management. It's risk management type, right? And also it has anyway it can make on the one hand it can make lots of money. On the one hand, it also has a very stable source of their export and import volume, right? Last one is the shipbuilding. Shipbuilding. Well, I want to say the shipbuilding industry of Korea is the world best competitiveness. World best, I think. I get. But world best. But the share of China, look at here. Well, don't worry. I will share the slides. Don't worry. Yeah. But nowadays, if we make 100 ships, right? 100 ships, then over 53 ships are made in China. Right? South Korea, well, 27, and Japan, 15, right? So combining China, Korea, and Japan, well, 90 out of 10 ships are made from these three countries. But still, I'm saying that Korea has the world's best competitiveness in the shipbuilding. Why? So, can I ask you a question, right? There are various types of ships depending on the cargo they transport, right? No? Right? So you may learn the bulk carriers, right? Bulk carriers that carries the iron ore and grains and coal, right? Yes. And also, how about the crude oil tankers? You learn, right? And containers, right? And the liquefied natural gas, right? There are various types of ships, okay, right? Which one do you think is more expensive? The bulk carrier or the liquefied natural gas carrier, LNG carrier? Do you think the price of them are same? Which one is much expensive? Much more expensive. Gentlemen, can I ask? LNG. Well, bulk carrier, compared to bulk carrier, LNG is much more expensive. Much more expensive. Well, one of the typical LNG carrier, it costs $200 million. 200 million. But for just a bulk carrier, sometimes it is just 10 million. Well, at best it is 10 million. 10 million. So the value of each ship is different, right? But here, oh, sorry, this is typo. Here, the unit is deadweight tonnage. Well, just the size of the vessel, right? Size. Oh, this is, sorry, this is typo. This is the deadweight tonnage, DWT. Okay, the DWT. Right? But in the new building, we have a little different unit. CGT, compensated gross tonnage. Compensated gross tonnage. It means that, anyway, it's a little bit complex, but it reflects the value of the ship, right? So if a country build more expensive ships, they can in this unit they will have much more share. So in terms of value, South Korean share goes up from mid-20s to 30, and Chinese share decreased from mid-50s to 50, less than 50, right? Just the size and value, size and value, size and value, right? So in terms of China, in terms of size, China is the world's largest shipbuilding country, right? But in terms of value, still China is the world's best. But the difference between these two, let's look at the last one. You like it? It means that still most expensive vessels are built in Korea, built by Korean shipyard. That's my point. That's why I think still Korea has the world's best competitiveness in shipbuilding, right? Okay. So the share of shipbuilding in Korea's export, right? Export is like that. Here, sometimes the 16 or 17% of Korean exports of ships. Okay, and here, it was, I think it was 2008, 2008, well, the 2010, right? The share of shipbuilding was 12.4%, and at that time, shipbuilding was the largest export item in Korea's import. Right? So shipbuilding is a dollar earning item, and also still maintains its competitiveness. Right? Okay. Oh, the last second. Actually, I'm speaking in front of you for the past 1.5 hours, right? Because the purpose of my lecture is just for this slide. Why don't you change Korea with Taiwan in the previous slide? Let's change Korea or South Korea into Taiwan in the previous slide. Right? Let's look at it. Is it developed economy, Korea? Yes. How about Taiwan? Of course, yes. It is developed because you have all the GDP per capita of about 35,000. It is developed economy, right? No one denies that this fact, right? How about manufacturing economy? Are you agree? Do you agree? Right? Manufacturing Korea, manufacturing Taiwan, right? How about, is it Ireland? Ireland? Yes, yes. Right? How about this one? Geopolitical risk, diplomatic risk, right? You deeply agree with this, right? The same as South Korea, because of our northern neighbor. Actually, to tell you that, can you imagine when South Korea joined the United Nations? When joined? South Korea joined the United Nations 1991. 1991. At that time, we joined the United Nations together with North Korea. But it's a kind of the dilemma, or it's kind of the paradox. But in our constitutional law, we don't recognize North Korea as a country. We don't recognize. Well, we just regard that our northern territory is occupied by illegal regime. So South Korea has also geopolitical risk, and it is an inherent risk in South Korean economy. But you may hear lots of news about their threat, South Korea threat to the North Korea, North Korea threat to South Korea, right? Anyway, we also share the geopolitical risk, right? Do you heavily depend on trade, export and import? How many population of Taiwan? 23, I don't know, about less than 30 million, 30 million, right? Less than 30 million. I think usually it's half of Korea, so 25 or 24, right? So your domestic market is not so large. You have to export. That's the only way you can earn money. You can't depend on your domestic market because it's too small population. Not small, but not enough population, right? So most of the host country depends on export and import. Yes, yes, right. You agree with this idea, right? How about, do you have a resource? Do you have crude oil? Do you have iron ore? Do you have natural gas? Nothing. Nothing. Host country full of food, right? Full of food, right? So, what is maritime transportation? Maritime transport, right? Island country, manufacturing country, it means that you have to import a lot of natural resources. It means that you have to export your manufactured goods to the other countries, right? But you are island country. The only way you can export is the ship, not airplane, right? This is why the maritime transportation is important to your country. Not only to your country, to my country. That's why I'm proud of my major, right? Well, this is the last thing. Well, because you're kind of the business major, you may do you learn the principles of economics? Do you? Principles of economics. Do you have economics? Today, do you have any lecture of the economics? Basic economics, right? So then you may heard the Adam Smith, right? The first economist, right? Adam Smith, right? And you know the fact that he wrote his book, his famous book, right? The Wealth of Nations, right? Well, to describe the book, everyone knows about the book, right? Everyone knows the book, The Wealth of Nations. But as far as I know, no one has read that book. Have you seen anyone who said, I have read that book? No one has read it. Even I didn't read it. I just tried it, but I gave up. Anyway, you know, the core idea he mentioned is that let them breed, okay, right? Let them breed to export. Let them breed to import, right? Let them breed, right? But he argued there are two things we can't let them breed. Two things, right? One of the things is the national defense. National defense. In national defense or the national security is not the matter of the commercial basis. It is the country have to protect its national security industry, right? Well, so what he says, the defense of Great Britain, England, for example, depends very much on the number of sailors and shipping. Shipping is kind of the national security. It's a matter of national security. Well, it's not 100% of the commercial activity. Part of it, well, this is not an economic importance, but I have to mention this. I have to point out this. I have to stress it out. Well, shipping is kind of the national security because Great Britain, UK, is an island country. Island country. Do they have any oil? Oh, they have oil. They have oil in the North Sea. But it is running out. I heard that it is running out. But at that time, they do not have any resources. They have to import everything. So Adam Smith, he supported the act of navigation. Well, to briefly explain the act of navigation, it means that, well, if you want to transport the Britain's export and import, the ship should be built by the English shipyard. The ship should be owned by English owners. The ship should be operated by English sailors. That was the major idea of act of navigation. It is kind of the protectionist. It limits the import of shipping services because the reason why he argued this is that shipping is kind of the national security. Right. Well, I think we can. This principle can be applied to the same to your country, even to my country, because we are also islands, right? Okay. right? This is the end of the presentation. I think we still have some time. If you have any questions or any comment, please feel free. Just you don't need to raise your hand. Just say.
刚已经那个看到是知道关于就是南海运动的发展，不知道同学有没有什么想因为台湾跟韩国就是一个类似于国家在发展方面上蛮接近的，就想
Any questions? If you don't have asked any questions, I usually misunderstand. Wow, I have perfect lecture. So everyone understand my speech. Don't make me misunderstand. Please raise your hand while asking some questions. 会有关讲座有没Yes, right.
Because I come from Korea.
English is not good. English is not good. But actually, several years ago. Yeah. The English website. But yeah, I don't think so because it was too outdated. Because they English not divided here.
After your job, you go back to your university asking you to rent, okay, update. Okay? So
The problem is that I can't read Chinese.
你用英文Okay, so because Dr. King will introduce their department to Korea State. If you're interested, you change student to Korea Ocean University, Maritime Ocean University. So far, your school sister will be applying for 4 members to his department. Right now, Dr. King is the head of the department, so they can make a very clean statement of you.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, because the Korean Maritime and Ocean University, we don't have the English service now. Yeah, the English service is a little bit in poor quality, so I'm sorry for that. But let me tell you, very frankly, of course, the Korean Maritime and Ocean University was established in 1945. So it's about 80 years ago. Yeah, 80 years ago. One of the first national universities in South Korea. But at the time, the Korean Maritime University was kind of the navigation department or the engineering department of your university, right? At that time, it was not a university; it was just a college, right? So since then, they expanded our academic areas since 1980. Since 1980, so except the College of Maritime Science, we established another two colleges. One is the College of Engineering, and the other is the College of Social Science. Right? My department, the shipping management, we are very proud of this fact that the shipping management, one of the first department established in 1980. So our slogan is lead, because kind of the pioneering. So because we are the one of the first pioneers to get the new areas in the Korean Maritime University. So we, as a part of a faculty member, I'm very proud of this fact. Also, I am actually this department is my mother department. I graduated this department. Right. So this is kind of the business management. So I think, as far as I know, your department is one of the most compatible department to the shipping management of the Korean Maritime University. Right. So what others can I help? Let me answer to your questions. Right. Do you have any questions to the shipping management department of Korean Maritime and Ocean University? Any questions? Any questions? Say ho. Say ho. Say ho. Because they do not have any questions, so I think that I expect that all of them will apply for the exchange program next year.
Because we're Gaoshang, okay, the local people normally is very shy, don't answer question. So, but I think so it's good time for you because a few teachers from your department introduce what kind of your major, what kind of how to change student, yeah. So that's why sometimes use this kind of application to review your department will be better for the future to change. So anyway,
Let me have last comment.
Right. Let me have a last comment. It should not be. It is not necessarily to be the Korean Maritime and Ocean University. But one point I want to is that I strongly encourage you to go abroad. When you are, especially when you are when you are in early 20s, because you should experience the wider world. You should not limit yourself in your country only, right? You should experience other culture, other universities in other countries, right? It may you can have wider view to look at the world. In my case, I was exactly 20 years ago. I visited the USA as an exchange student. And I think that experience changed my life since then, right? So it should not be the Korean Maritime University, but any university or any country. I strongly encourage you experience, right? Thank you very much.
Thank you.